Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking a little bit about martial arts, my experience with martial arts and how you can potentially join a martial art and the sort of advantages and potentially disadvantages that has. As some of you may well know, I do Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I've mentioned it in previous videos, but I've never really done a video that focuses purely on what I do and why you guys should potentially, look at thinking about becoming a martial artist. So without further ado guys, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so first and foremost, everyone has their own ideas of what martial arts are. No doubt if you've never done any form of martial arts before, you probably are thinking of Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee or someone like that, probably a film star. Or you've watched videos on YouTube and have seen people kicking the living shit out of each other. Now let me try and sort of clear up this haze that is that people think about when they think about martial arts. Now if we break it down into the fundamentals, martial art. Martial is fighting. It's the ability to use a set of skills, I guess, to defend yourself or to protect yourself. And art is making something look nice. It's about aesthetics, isn't it? So if you add the two together, you're trying to defend yourself and you perfect that in such a way that it makes it look like an art form, make it look nice, make it look skillful, and that's what martial arts do. They try to be able to defend, martial artists, sorry, try to be able to defend themselves as efficiently as they can, and if they can make it look good, then they will. There are many different types of martial arts, and if we look at them as like an almost umbrella, and there are categories, these are going to be large categories, admittedly. We have things like the striking arts. So a striking art is something like taekwondo, karate, and then you move into things like kickboxing and boxing. These are arts that focus in the act of striking, so punching and kicking as their primary method of defense. Now within each one, and the same applies for other martial arts as well, there is often a difference between competitive martial artists and sort of more traditional martial artists. Now a competitive martial art is something like boxing, okay, although many boxers would look at it as a traditional art in many respects. The whole point of being a boxer is to be able to punch in various combinations, be able to move, be able to judge your opponent and what your opponent's about to do in order to win a fight. Alright, and the same can apply to things like karate and taekwondo too. Now traditional styles of those arts would be more where the martial artist is thinking about the history of the art, and instead of using that art to win medals, they use it as a method of self-defense, and they study the history and the culture, and they get fully invested in it. Now, other than the striking arts, you have things like judo, you have Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, you have Aikido, and these are typically going to be martial arts that are relying on the aggressor's sort of energy, or the opponent's energy, if we're talking about things like judo, to be able to take that person's balance and to be able to throw them on the floor, to be able to submit them, and so on and so forth. Now these martial arts again can be considered to be sport, but things like Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu tend to be done more as a traditional art rather than a sport, but either way the same principles can be seen throughout. And then the last form of sort of martial art, you could say, are things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling, which is much more ground-based. Admittedly, they do a lot of standing stuff too, and there is no doubt that they're not forms of self-defense, but they focus a lot more on ground restraints, ground holds, because I guess the presumption is it's inevitable that at some point in a fight you may well end up on the floor. If you have ever watched things like the UFC, MMA, a lot of that is considered to be things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a lot of the people that compete at that level have done some form of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and so a lot of the ground restraints that you see, leg locks, hooks, general manipulation of someone on the floor, is probably going to have originated from one of those arts. So for me, I do Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I know I've already mentioned it before, like I've said in previous videos. But basically, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is a traditional Japanese martial art. It's actually where a lot of the Japanese martial arts originated from. So things like Judo sort of came from Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. And it's the art of the samurai. So it's a traditional art. And basically, it comprises a system of throwing or takedowns, joint locks, so things like wrist locks, arm locks, and strikes, so punching and kicking and elbows and all sorts of things like that, to be able to protect yourself against an aggressor. And essentially you are using the aggressor's energy, the aggressor's anger, to be able to take them off balance and to apply any of the techniques that you know. So that's what I do, okay? When I was a kid, I did a little bit of karate when I was a junior, but I didn't stick at it, unfortunately. Why? I don't know. I was like 5 at the time. But I started Jiu-Jitsu when I first studied at university. I have never actually, believe it or not, been in a physical confrontation outside, not really. I know that's a presumption. If you do a martial art, you must have been in millions of fights, but that's not true. I've never been in a fight to know what that feels like. But because I'd never been in a fight, I was quite nervous, especially going to university, that I might be in a position where I have to defend myself and not know what to do. So now at least I feel more confident, and I know that if anything did happen, I have learned and I've developed the skills to be able to keep myself safe. Now guys, if you're watching this video and you're sort of umming and ahhing as to whether or not martial arts are for you, whether you should try them, whether you should try and stick at it, what have you, my first suggestion is yes, just do it. I know that it can be quite daunting, it can be quite scary. Different martial arts may be more approachable than others, but give it a go, and if you don't like it, you don't have to carry it on. Now, my prowess as someone who teaches martial arts is, my aim is that on your first lesson, you will learn a core basic skill that will enable you to keep yourself safe from a host of attacks. Things that are likely to happen, from being punched, pushed, grabbed, whatever it may be. My sort of goal is that after that first session you'll feel fairly confident that you have learnt some effective defensive sort of techniques and skills that you could then apply if you needed to. Now the benefits of being involved with a martial art and studying a martial art are sort of, they're longer than my arm, okay? The list really is that long. The first thing is being able to defend yourself, and I think it's amazing that there are people in the world today that neglect the fact that there are other people out there that might cause you harm. There are people in the world that are nasty, that they have their set agenda, and it happens. And it doesn't even have to be as a result of an action that you've done. Some people just feel the need to cause pain and inflict damage on others. And so I feel that in today's climate, being able to have a set of skills that you can keep yourself safe, it's essential, it's vitally important, in my view. So that's the first thing, you get to be able to defend yourself. The second thing, guys, that is sort of a benefit of being part of a martial art is fitness. Alright, although it is sort of a, you know, it's not something that's always promoted. If you do a martial art or a sport, I guess, such as kickboxing and boxing, it's obviously included because you need to be fit to last the entire, like, every round. But as a whole, you don't necessarily need to be fit to do a martial art, but you will get fit doing one. You know, it is a physical art. There is a lot of confrontation. It's a very physical. So, you know, don't put off doing martial arts if you're not fit, but by doing them, you will become fit. Okay, it is sort of a benefit of being involved in martial arts and in doing something very physical. Now the next benefit is kind of off of fitness, and that's flexibility. Now it does depend on what martial art that you do. For things like karate and taekwondo, you're a lot more likely to work on flexibility for some of the techniques because, you know, at the upper ends of the art you're doing things like kicking pads above your head and stuff, and so if you've got tight hamstrings you're not physically going to be capable of doing it, and so they will focus you know, your training partly on flexibility. So if you're looking to get flexible as well as fit and you want to defend yourself, maybe that's what you should try. Maybe you should try one of the striking arts. But it definitely helps your flexibility. It's helped mine, and I'm not flexible at all. Yeah, so another benefit of doing martial arts is actually building up your own self-confidence. Now, speaking from personal experience, I've never been like a shy individual. I've never been shy. I wasn't shy when I was a child, and as I've gone into adulthood, I definitely am not shy. But martial arts has definitely built up confidence in me, and it actually made me believe in myself more, because you often get pushed in martial arts where you wouldn't otherwise in everyday life, and you realise that actually, you're not made of glass, and you can achieve things if you push yourself and you work hard at it. Now, on the flip side of that, most martial arts are, a high contact. They're full contact sports or arts or whatever. And so even if you're nervous and shy beforehand, you very much get put in a position where you have to do things very physical that you may well not be confident doing and comfortable doing. But actually, when you learn that, oh, it's not actually that bad, and these people are my friends and they're actually wanting to see me develop and we're having fun doing it, you soon learn to realise that if you can overcome something small like getting quite close to someone and working with someone to be able to protect yourself, then maybe you can do other things in life. And I've noticed this with students. I've been teaching for a number of years now, and I've had students walk in to start their first class, and they look nervous, they're not sure, they kind of are a bit sort of scared of me, of the class, of the environment. And they leave the room with their head up high, having had fun, having joked about, having done all sorts of different things. And they end up inevitably sticking at it. And their confidence just continues to grow, and they build as a person, they really develop. Now, this does obviously depend on the environment. Not all martial arts and not all clubs are going to be quite as inviting. That might just be me. I'm quite an exuberant, laid-back instructor. I like to make things fun and enjoyable and greet people. But generally speaking, if you're a beginner and you're going into martial arts, most instructors and students will be very greeting. They'll want you to come and join, and you will get more confident through doing it. Okay guys, the last thing that I'm going to say that is a benefit of doing martial arts is the friendships that you make. There's something about trying to punch someone in the face and then them trying to punch you back in the face, someone trying to pull your hair out and then them doing it back to you, that really seals you in a bond, in a friendship. It's a bit of a bizarre thing. There aren't really many circumstances where you actively agree and sign up to having someone attack you and then you do it back to them in order to sort of learn and develop skills. But that's the reality of martial arts. And I honestly feel like the best friends I've gained and I've developed have been through learning martial arts and have been through jiu-jitsu. It's really is a community, and although there are going to be individuals that you don't get on with, I mean that's the same with life, as a whole, like, you make so many good friends, and it takes you all over the place. I mean, for me, I've done jiu-jitsu all over the UK. I've made friends from all over the UK. I'm pretty confident now that, regardless of where I go in the UK, there's someone that I know that does jiu-jitsu that I could potentially go and meet or see. I've travelled abroad. I've been over to France and done some jiu-jitsu as well, and I know that we have clubs in Canada, we have clubs in America, South America, across Europe. We've even got one in Japan as well. So the friendships you build are fantastic, and this all links in with the whole thing of, building confidence, and you really do just have a very big support network. So if you feel like that's something that's missing in your life, then again, you might be able to get that from taking up a martial art. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do now, because I'm aware that I've spoken quite a lot, is I'm going to reel some clips of me doing jiu-jitsu. They might seem a little bit intense, but then I am a black belt, so that's kind of expected at my level, just to kind of cut it through. So yeah, cue the video and hope you enjoy.
Yo!
Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you took something away from it. Like I said, you really should look into joining a martial art. It really is worth it. If you're interested in joining Jiu-Jitsu, I'm part of the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu Foundation. I will leave a link in the description box below, so go and check it out. We cover across the UK. There's pretty much in most mainstream towns there is a club or multiple. And we also have international clubs as well, so go and check it out. If you've got anything that you want to say, as always guys, leave a comment below. I'd love to engage with you guys in martial arts. I can probably talk to God knows what. I'm very passionate about martial arts, so I can definitely like comment, and if you've got any questions I can answer them. And I do endeavour to answer any questions guys, so if you've got one, comment below. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like. If you don't. No, I'm all open on this channel. I'm all open. Yeah, and if you enjoy my content, guys, make sure you subscribe. Right, well, I'm gonna leave it there before this video becomes an hour long. Until next time, guys, have a good one. Bye.